Hey guys, Anthony 4B4 Diesel. This is a video. A lot of people have sort of been inquiring. We've got a full detail, the big BFE water pump time belt replacement job. You can see it's all pulled apart here. We've got at least one video, that'll be in the VIP group, the full detailed one. But then I think there's a few others and a few tips and tricks. And on our YouTube channel, on all the public videos that are available to anyone, there's millions of pieces. Well, it's probably not millions, there's probably dozens of pieces on this subject that are part of the million-piece jigsaw puzzle and what we do, what the BFE job is. So I'm just going to run through a few things while we've got this one completely stripped and pulled apart. So this is a Hilux. This Hilux had the one-piece water pump. Okay, so we've talked about in many other videos. We've got a playlist called, I'm pretty sure it's called BFE or water pump or something along those lines. Just go through those on our YouTube channel. Playlists, right? And you'll find the subheading. They're all, each playlist is named, and it's the one that it says anything to do with BFE, water pump, timing belt, that type of thing. It might be called something along those lines to make it really easy for you. Right, so we've got it all stripped down. This is basically fully stripped down and cleaned up. It's not fully cleaned up. We've got to do a little bit more cleaning and air blowing and drying and stuff like that. But you know, what we do, we run the pressure washer very carefully as demonstrated, and reverse flush the exterior core of the radiator, pushing all the bugs and dirt back at the front where they came from every 150,000 Ks, so that you can have airflow to this radiator. Well, best as possible. This one's got a bull bar on it, of course. That's another subject, how that adversely affects the airflow through the radiator in the standard cooling system. It's no longer standard, but I just wanted to show you, while the water pump's off, the one-piece water pump, what it looks like. And what we'll do step by step as we put it back together after a couple of components have been installed, like for example, water pump will go on, the timing belt backing plate will go on. So these are the couple of things. You can actually see this vehicle's already got a EGR plate installed, so injector replacement job we've recently done, and yeah, customer said it's already got a plate in there, so you can see there it is. Right, there's that plate with a 7mm hole, right, which reduces the flow of the EGR. So we're not talking about the legalities of that in this video. It's completely off topic, but just wanted to show you, if you're looking at that and you're wondering, if you're working on the front of your vehicle, you can, that's where one place you can see what's going on. So when we take the plastic backing plate off, there's some RTV silicone here. We don't clean that up because that's just a pain of a job that you're just not going to get it all off. You're going to be there wasting time. What works really well, once you get the water pump in place, of course, first, which is fairly straightforward, all those mounting bolts, the same ones that came off. One of the next things that goes over is that backing plate, and what we do, we just run a small amount. You can either do it down here, or personally I do it on the back of the plastic cover, a tiny amount of RTV in the bottom of the cover, because you don't need a lot, because they've kind of put a lot here the first time. So you're leaving that there. That's the shape that the cover's going to go, that rear back part of the cover, backing plate, it's going to go back in exactly the same place. So I hope it makes sense. If you're using the same grey RTV product, you're kind of just using a really small amount to just re-glue it onto here, and obviously every 150k you're going to take it off, and it's pretty much going to look the same, as long as you don't get crazy and put a heap there and make a mess of it. Look, the timing covers, they don't seal that well anyway. You do get a bit of dust and dirt and water and stuff like that in there, a small amount. That's why it is important to get it off and do the maintenance every 150,000 Ks, and the maintenance to us is replacing that tensioner and that idler as well as the belt, not just the belt. And of course the cam seal, if it's leaking, okay? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'll say it again. If it ain't broke, if it's not leaking, don't fix it. The valve cover gaskets don't leak. This RTV here doesn't leak, and generally these seals don't leak, but every now and then you'll get one that does leak or weep a little bit. The key thing is to be very careful getting out. It's not a video on how to change the cam seal, just talking about it a little bit. So what we'll do now, we'll get the water pump back in position, and we'll step by step, we'll just give you a quick look at each component and a quick chit chat, so stay tuned and we'll show you. And hopefully putting it back together is always the hard part, isn't it? So if you watch the putting it back together video, and that's what this might be, and we'll just put it on YouTube for everyone to see. It might end up being a bit of a long one, or there could be a few different sections to it, so make sure you subscribe, turn the bell on so you don't miss out if it ends up being a few different videos. And of course there's other videos there, one video per day, approximately 10 minutes. It's not much to get yourself educated on your second biggest investment or investments. You may have many motor vehicles, and all this information is relevant to everyone, including your brother, sister, mother, father, sons and daughters and friends. So share the channel so we can help get everyone educated, save their money, keep their vehicles reliable, and help everyone out. Thanks for watching so far. All right, so the water pump's on. Okay, pretty straightforward. The reason why all these brackets, tension, everything came off, we've covered it before, because the brackets go over the water pump here, right? Goes over the top of that. So, but see here now, you got these bolts. See that separates there. See the gasket? So if you look down on yours and you see a gap there in this gasket, genuine, you want the genuine one, not the paper gasket. That's extra work. That's slabs of Heineken to clean up all that mess. Anyway, then it'll just be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and one of them 6, and that comes off to change your water pump. See here, this area here, couple of bolts, whatever. You'll see it's pretty straightforward, but the whole timing belt arrangement goes, yeah. Let's see, I'm blocking your view. Well, that's what it does. The timing belt backing plate blocks that coming out, so that's why all this has to come off at the same time, and that's why it makes complete sense. If you've got a leaking water pump, right, or a timing belt and a one-piece pump, if you're doing the timing belt, do the pump. If you're doing the pump, do the timing belt, because it's all got to come off anyway, right? And that's why it just makes sense to do every 150k. But look, it's up to you if you want to. If you want to save money, the vehicle's a bit older and you've got a 2-piece pump, you changed your water pump recently, you didn't know, no point changing it again, just do the timing belt, no problem. But then you've got the belt and bearings, whatever the case may be. So we can supply you that kit, but it's a complete kit, you know, water pump, timing belt, oil retention, a cam seal, the whole lot, with the main drive belt, the bearings on every, we mentioned it before in other videos. It's up to you. All right, what are we going to put on next? B2. What are you thinking? What I'm thinking? The backing plate for the timing belt.
Foam first.
Oh yeah, don't forget the foam. Yeah, that's it. See, and I nearly left that out. So this is the big warning for people that hang around and listen. There's a piece of insulating foam that goes in, and you got to get that in before it's too late. So let's get it all back together and step by step. So the foam, the backing plate, and then of course the cam gear and things like that. Don't forget that bit of RTV on the bottom of the cover, at the bottom of the deal there, you know, that deal down there. That's it, just paint it on nicely. That's why we went to kinder and primary school. You know those silly little things they got us to do, you think back? Wasn't so silly, was it, you know? Right, no need to put too much, just a little bit along there. This is probably, you know, we're going a little bit, you know, it's thin, but this is more than what you need, right? This is a little bit more than what you need, just along this bottom edge here, and that will glue it, right? But there you go, you get the idea. So there you go, backing plate's on, a couple of bolts behind there, another one down there, a couple down there. You can see again, whoop, I nearly knocked the bloody bonnet down. Unbelievable. Careful, B2. Anyway, I might get the bonnet dropped on our heads. No, it's all good. So yeah, that's obviously the backing plate's all tight. You can see what I mean. So just that amount of RTV down, that'll just sort of glue that back onto there so it's sealed from behind. As I said, it's not a perfect seal. That's why later in the video you're going to see what we do here. Don't use RTV along here, but we've got another little system what we do with a molly coat, because we think it helps. It just helps to seal up a bit more, mainly from dust, a little bit from water. We don't want to put grease and stuff in there, because you know grease has got oils in it and it spreads from there and it ends up on these areas. You don't want that. The molly coat, very light amount, but we'll show you later in the video. This, of course, we're not going to try and tighten it up yet because there's no belt on there. We don't want to turn the engine. So now we're going to get all the tensioner and the idler in place down here. We'll show you that, right? You got your big bolt hole here. Do not forget the washer. And you got your other 2 holes here for your tensioner. We'll give you some more information. Right, here we go. It's getting there. We're getting there slowly. You can see the timing belt if you want to go through that. We've got short videos on timing belt marks, but you can see somebody's worked on it before and put that mark. There's a little black plastic arrow. I like to put a bit of paint there. The genuine belts have got a line on them, but the line doesn't matter. You could put the line somewhere else. It just makes it easier for you to check, and you can see the little divot mark there directly at the top. That's easy. And of course you've got a few marks down the bottom we talk about in other videos. At the side there's a little arrow. Where am I with the camera? Down here. Yep, down there. Bit hard to show you, so let's go down and have a look. Probably should have turned the light on, shouldn't I? How about that? Let's do that too. We'll go down here and hopefully show you the marks. I can't see what I'm showing you, so I'm just sort of taking a bit of a guess. You should be able to see an arrow. So the alloy, I'm putting my finger over it now, and then you'll see the little divot mark in the tooth. Some other marks around now, but they're the main ones you need to know about. You can see one on the crankshaft down there as well. Everything's lined up. There's more detail on how the easiest way to put the belts on and stuff in other videos. That's what I mean. We're trying to keep this one short. This is a put back together video. I don't want to go on about it too much. But if you want to be, the telltale sign if you've made a mistake is we've got everything lined up, so you can't really be wrong, but just double check. Well, what do we do to double check to be sure to be sure?
We turn the crank.
Oh, the 22mm on the crankshaft, and you can see everything's turning. So if it turns even that far without any problems, I can tell you you've got no problem, you're all good to go. Sometimes people get a bit concerned, they turn it and the mark comes back around in the line, it never lines up again. Don't worry about that. All that matters is if it turns, you're in business. Now, what about tightening up all these bolts? Did we tighten this up yet?
Yes.
Of course we did. Did we tighten this bolt here? Don't forget the 10mm. So this is a 19, this is a 10mm hex, and down here you got two 10mm bolts, right? So they're all done up, the 10mm bolts, that's all done up, isn't it?
Correct.
All right. That's all they need to know, isn't it? That's all they need to know, isn't it?
Should we tell them the torque specs, B1?
Well, I don't need torque specs.
We just do it by hand, don't we?
Yeah, you don't need torque specs, do you?
No,
Sure,
not
maybe
really.
maybe we should tell them in case, you know, they're not that good with, you know, they don't do it like we do all the time. Okay, they're probably better than us, they just hasn't got the experience, you know, it wouldn't be hard to be better than us. But anyway, so what is it, 98? 98, yeah, 98. Look, you know, don't trust us. Disclaimer, precaution, I always get things wrong. I could have told you that could be a 17, I'll tell you it's a 19, it could be 108, I'll tell you. Anyway, we believe that's a 19mm bolt, it's 98 Newton meters. Down here, that's a 10mm hex, 35, I think.
35,
yeah, 35, yeah. And down here on these little 10mm, they're about 13, but they're going into alloys, so just not too over tight. Are you agreed with those torque specs? Yeah. So we're agreed, but we could be wrong, so check it out. But you know, to be quite honest, by hand, I do those by hand, I do this by hand. That one I like to use the torque wrench, so there you go. But look, basically, as long as it's tight, it's a steel bolt going into a cast. It's cast iron, that's camshaft. Nothing's going to happen even if you tighten up to 150, but if you slip, you might, I don't know, you might break something anyway. And you use the 22mm and the bar to hold that still while you tighten this up and undo it. So there's your little tip for when you're pulling it apart. And the warning is, once again, don't take the belt off. Don't take any of this gear down here until you've got this undone, and don't tighten that up until this is all back on, because whatever slips, it's all going to go together. Then your final thing before you put the cover on, we're about to do, is you turn it. We've done that. Cover's going to go on, 6 bolts. You can see, don't over tighten them, or you'll pull those little what do you call it's out of the plastic. People do that all the time. If that's happened, you can probably push them back in. If they've really wrecked them and spun them, you can probably glue them. While you've got it all apart, cleaned up, you can probably fix that up, make sure they're just flush, right? And sometimes people completely wreck things and you need to replace those rear covers. I think I've got one spare one here, so yeah, you just need to grab that off your local Toyota dealer. That's a worst case scenario surprise, so be prepared for that. Usually you'll get this job done maybe in a day or something like that, but if something pear-shaped like that happens. So we're going to get this cover on, we're going to get this tension on, step by step. We'll show you that. Lights, camera, action. We've got the spinning timing cover. Showing you the molly coat. Stop it, stop. That's it, good spot, thank you. Okay, here we go. See the molly coat, what I'm talking about? Just a nice bit of wetness there. And you know, because you've sometimes got gaps in places or not a lot of pressure, and that what it does, it just stops the dust being able to get through, or help reduce it, or even if it doesn't work, you've got nothing to lose. Just don't get it everywhere. Now, this has all been washed with a pressure washer, and the last thing we do to help clean up all this mess, see that dust down the side there? It's like a dust stain. Yeah, it's been washed, right? We just get a rag and we run a rag around the inside edge like that, just to make it nice and clean, and that gets any dags of any molly coat that's on the inside edge, because we don't want any getting anywhere near any of the belt. Although it wouldn't hurt it, we just, prevention, we like to, we're just a bit, you know, we're a bit like that. You know what I mean? I think you're like that too if you're still watching, so keep watching, that's what we're like. We'll give you all the tips and we'll get it all back together. Here we have the replacement bearing set, 5 bearings that are about to be pressed into the 3 pulleys. These 3 pulleys here, okay? So there's 2 small ones in each of these, and there's 1 big one in there. The small ones, usually one bearing's really good, the other one is the one that gets noisy, you know. Once it's on a few K, as soon as you put a little bit of water on it or something like that, it won't let you down, the top ones, because there's one bearing in there that's good. It's the other one that's a bit dodgy. It could let you down, but the other one's got enough strength to hold the line. But either way, obviously, you replace them both while you got them out. This bottom one, that can let you down. The tension is worth about $400 or $500, depends where you are, and if that lets you down, wherever you get towed into, they're going to sell you a whole tensioner, about $400 or $500 at a whole lot of work to change it. So this bearing is good to do as prevention like the rest of the job. So what's changed? We got the cover on. You saw we lubed up the cover. Covers on 6 bolts. What's the torque setting on those? Is it 5? I don't even know. Yeah, it might be 5. Yeah, it might be 5. Again, we just go by hand, mate. You know, you just go nicely. See the gap there? It's got a gap there, but you know the seal will be making contact there. Look, if you've got a timing cover that's too distorted, then maybe you should order a new one, because you want to keep it as sealed as possible. That's why we do what we do. That little bit extra there. And we've put the tensioner back on. So the tension is basically the tension and the compressor mounting bracket. So the tension's down here. Mate, can you please point out where all the bolts are on the tensioner for the viewers? Just go sort of bang 1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2.
The others are hidden. Let me see if I can get down there.
3.
Well, that one's not
4.
Down there. Okay, so somewhere there. Anyway, you'll find them 4 bolts, and same for the compressor bracket. How many bolts, boys, mate?
1, 2, 3, and a hidden 4.
Yeah, there's that hidden one under there. So 4 bolts on each of those items, and then carefully the compressor can go back on. Don't scratch the car, don't bend the pipes the wrong way, don't drop it. These are just alloy. You want to bend them, you'll be in all sorts of trouble, same as if you bend a smaller one like that. You can rework them and manipulate them a little bit if you're doing aftermarket accessories, but you can't just bend them, break them, bend them back and forth. Metal fatigue, they're going to break. It's going to hurt, it's going to be painful. So this is where it's at. What else do we need to tell them? We're going to sit the compressor back on, 4 bolts, pretty self-explanatory. 1, 2, so you know they go in these holes there the same way as it came off. Alternator's got to go down there. We've got alternator replacement videos. You can see the plugs and wiring at the back. We might show you that. Let's get the alternator back on. Let's get these bearings pressed, get the bearings back on, and then we might come back to you. But it's getting to the easy parts now, you know, top hose and fan shrouds, kind of like the hard stuff. I'm not saying it's hard, I'm just saying, you know, that's the stuff that you needed the information on, and we've got a whole heap of videos like this. It's worth watching them all, because they all come together to get you really experienced at it before you've even worked on the job, so then it just goes straight forward. The idea is not to try and watch one video and do it as per you watch the video, because I'm not that organised to be able to do although I think there is one that's kind of like that, but this is pretty well covered it, so you need to watch all the videos. You'll get really familiar, then you'll come out to the vehicle, you'll know, you know, coolant bottle off, drop the coolant bottle off, you know, take off the fan shroud, the top hose, and you know, and you'll work away at it slowly pretty much, and that'll get you to where we are now. This video is more to cover the harder bits, but we'll do a little bit. This is looking like it's progressing, so quite obviously the main top bolt holds the alternator. There's one at the bottom as well, you can go and find that, I'm not bending over. 10mm there, you can connect the battery. This is your issue here, sometimes these plugs can be very difficult to release. You kind of got to squeeze it, and you got to wiggle a lot, you know. You got to wiggle a lot, you know, squeeze and wiggle. Looks like this alternator's been replaced with a aftermarket one not too long ago. Yeah. Alright, but that's what happens, you know. Anyway, that's alright, it'll work, and when it blows up or causes other problems, you can get an overcharging code with aftermarket alternators. So there is a P, you know, you really need to have that scan tool on the dash. Stay tuned if you haven't seen already. We have, and we're going to have more. We're going to have a number of scan tools we're going to show you. I know a lot of people are chasing cheap scan tools that can do all the diagnostic codes and everything, all the injector compensation codes, pilot lens and stuff like that. We might have some cheap options available. We're just checking out some scan tools for you, and we'll do some videos and we'll show you what they can do and what they can't. So once again, subscribe, turn the bell on so you don't miss that. Better off being notified and then not watch it if you don't like it, rather than not being notified and completely missing it, don't you think? So smash that subscribe button, smash the like button if you're liking this. Yeah, so the alternator's on. Next, we've got to press those bearings into those pulleys to get that compressor back on, and we're nearly there. Mate, you're on camera action now working, so there you go, right? Yeah, beautiful. Look at that. Yeah. Looking good, mate. Looking good. Look, we've got the bearings all pressed in there. 2 new bearings there. 2 new bearings there. 1 new bearing there. Got a new belt going on, and the 4. Beautiful, 4 bolts holding that on. Tell if the vehicle's had a new water pump fitted. See, you look down, you can see all the alloy of everything in general. It's kind of discoloured, and if you look down, you see nice and shiny like that. It's probably been replaced, particularly if you see shiny alloy and the bolts a bit discoloured. And if you want to check if it's genuine or not, look down, and down here you'll see that Toyota stamp there. or you might see an Aisin, A-I-S-I-N, that's the actual manufacturer in Japan. You know, also you might see those pink dots on there. What else? Yeah, if you're trying to work out if this is a 1 or a 2-piece pump, you kind of just look down here. See that gap? It's a bit hard. You just got to look at the back of the pump just there from the top here, right, where this wiring loom is, and that's how you can tell if it's a 1-piece pump or a 2-piece pump. If you see a 1-piece pump, you're laughing. If you've got a 1-piece pump, important message, don't go and pull all this stuff over here off, because you don't need to, right? What you would do if you had the 2-piece pump already is you remove this one, and this one, because you're going to change those bearings. 6 bolts at the water pump, and that comes off, right? So once you've got your belt and your fan and everything out of the way, much more straightforward job. And of course the timing belt cover and all the gear under there, still give it all that cleanup. But the cam gear, if there's no oil leak, doesn't need to come off. The backing plate doesn't need to come off. So look, it saves a fair bit of work, to be quite honest. So yeah, but we still do all the reverse flush of the radiator and all the big cleanup anyway. We're going to continue with this. Little things like putting the brackets back on. This wiring loom here comes around, gets clipped in here, and the aircon compressor plug goes in there. The core temperature sensor goes there, and the belt's going to go on. And then the the pulley over the water pump, and then the fan will go on the fan shroud. And you'll see the top radiator hose will be on, and then of course the coolant tank will be here. Coolant will be getting poured in. And like I keep saying, we've got other videos, so don't rely on this one. This has got a lot of important information, but so do the other videos. Watch them all, get yourself trained. You might even know how to do it before you buy your BFE kit. BFE kit is Wednesdays, so if you listen to the end, Wednesdays from 8 AM, shoot me that text message with your name, your vehicle. I need to know, all I need to know for a BFE kit is if it's a Hilux or if it's a Prado 120 or a Prado 150. Obviously only 1 KDs we're doing these kits for. They're very popular. That's what we work on. That's what we specialise in. Yeah, we'll probably have some more info for you. There it is, mate. You reckon you can line up the hole? For the video, it's not going to go on. This could be one of those funny, nah, it didn't work out. Alright, that's it. So what we do, in case you missed it, I mean, look, each to their own, but I put a nut on here, right? The nut goes on, then I put the belt on, and then once the belt's on, I remove the nut again. Of course, it goes on a slight angle, but when I put the fan and the nut on, I just find it's easier to put the belt on now while there's nothing, so there's nothing in the way. Where once if you put the fan on there, you can. It's just a little bit harder to put the belt on, but everyone's different, each to their own. I just like to give you some ideas. All right, we're looking good, so I thought I'd take a bit of a break and give you a bit of a catch up. Oh, you don't get to take a break, mate. You keep going. Good work, beautiful. All right, don't forget the Heinekens, guys. Don't forget the slabs of Heineken, the green boxes. All right, so you can see the new belt, you can see all the wiring put back, you know, when the clips are a bit down, that's not us, you know, people have done that previously, that's what it is. I'm going to pour some more coolant in here in a minute. You can see it's down, we need to just keep pouring it in and keep it up to here so it pushes the air out. We've got the little bleeder thing out so the air can come out. Right, you can see at the moment, belt's in position. Always double check that your belt is on. All the ribs are aligned, especially down the bottom of the crankshaft where you can't see it. This is the order of the belt in case you mucked up. Right, there's your direction of where the belt goes, right? So the side, it goes on the inside of that side one there, it goes on the inside of the bottom one, and it goes on the inside of the top one. Pretty straightforward, isn't it? It's one of the easier engines to get a belt back on. So we're just about done here. A bit more coolant. You can see the hoses on, all pretty straightforward stuff. The power steering reservoir, that's happening, well, right now as we speak, right? And you know, like I said, this coolant tank, I don't know what else to tell you. It's pretty well that straightforward. Straightforward when you've done a lot, isn't it? I know, it just seems straightforward to me. Look at this beautiful thing though. Look at this, it's nice and clean. Nice new valve cover. Nice BFE. It's just beautiful for another 150,000 Ks. Happy days. I don't know if there's anything else. You reckon there's anything else we can add into this video? We're about done. How about this? We're going to, you know, it depends what, you know, when you see this video, we're going to take a break again because we have been, this is the problem, we take a break and we come back and we've got to work double time to catch up. So guess what? We need another break and we're catching up for the last couple of years. So we're going to take the month of June off and the first little bit of July as well for the school holidays. So Melbourne school holidays. So from the start of June, forget it, mate. We're out of here. We're done. For June and July until school goes back in July. So if you need any of your parts kits or book into the Prado Hospital, you're gonna, I think it's about the 11th of July, we'll be back on deck. So you're okay until the end of May, but you're probably not going to see this video in time. Maybe I'll put this in the VIP group first, and any VIPs that watch till the end, put it in the comments, I watched till the end. So what else are we going to say? In case you missed it, injector kit day, Monday from 7:30, 8 a.m. in the morning. Text me. Tuesday, Dobinson suspension. I get absolutely hammered on Mondays, and it bleeds into Tuesday. And if you text me about suspension on Tuesday and you don't get a response or not quick enough, feel free to just text me again, and I often will respond with, can you please remind me again at such and such a time if I don't go back there. I've got way too much going on. That's why I need to take a break again. Only genuine coolant, super long life, right? So we'll get that in there. I reckon we'll hit the go button on this in a minute. Right? This is about ready to start it up. Wednesday is BFE kit day. This stuff. I wanted to do it all Monday, but there's way too much now to do it on Monday. So we've sort of changed BFE to Wednesday. So that way I just get all these kits done, hopefully in the morning for an hour or two, and then can get back onto these jobs. So Thursday, Prado Hilux front wheel bearings, and Friday's the day off to get everything else done. So please don't bother me on the weekend, especially even on Friday. For that matter, Thursday after 11 a.m. and for that matter any other day after 11 a.m. I understand if you're in WA it's going to be closer to the 10 or 11 a.m. depending what time of year it is, that sort of thing. But yeah, if we can target for first thing in the morning, the kits that get paid for first are the ones that get packed and sent first. We do a run sometimes every day, but sometimes it's not for every 2 or 3 days. So just be patient. And express post that used to be really quick overnight most of the time, still is sometimes, but sometimes it's a few days and sometimes it's a week or two, but that's pretty rare. But usually it turns up even if it's late. Like the suspension, it can turn up, take a long time. But this thing, mate, this is just beautiful. Can't wait to hit the start button. You might catch that in another video or on another video, so subscribe, turn the bell on. I know this was a long one, but it's got all the info in there for you. Hope you liked it. Smash the like button. Bye. Thanks for watching. See ya.